Thanks for watching. I'm Margot Kimberg, and this is In the Spotlight, a closer look at a crime novel. One of the interesting advantages or extras that we get from reading really vintage crime fiction is that it gives us a look at the life of the times, the way people were. And sometimes there are also some interesting mysteries in the crime fiction of the era. Let's take a look at a novel like that today and turn the spotlight on Carolyn Wales in the Onyx lobby. Sir Herbert Binney has come to New York from England to better supervise his company, Binney's Buns, which has been a leader in the bakery industry for years. While in the US, he's staying at the Campanile, a posh apartment building. Also living in the building is Miss Letitia Paul, who's a relative of Binney's by marriage. Her nephew, Richard Bates, also lives there, as does the young woman Bates loves, Dorcas Everett. There's a bitter, ongoing feud between Dorcas's mother, Mrs. Everett, and Letitia Paul, so neither will consider giving consent to such a marriage. Sir Herbert, on the other hand, very much supports the marriage, as he wants his nephew Richard to take over his company. With all of this going on in the background, Sir Herbert goes out one night, returning very late. He's only been in the lobby a moment or two when he's murdered. The murderer took very good care that night to be sure to plan that the murder would occur when the night porter was escorting a resident to the elevator. No one saw the killer strike. When the porter finds the body, he alerts the police, and Detective Corson starts the investigation. There are several possibilities for murder, too. Sir Herbert was a ladies' man and very much enjoyed the company of chorus girls. He behaved in a way that would be considered extremely inappropriate or worse today. And he made more than one young woman uncomfortable with his innuendos, shoulder touches, and so on. He even tried to kiss women, whether or not they wanted it. One of the women he mistreated could be responsible for the murder. There are other possibilities too. The feud between Miss Paul and Mrs. Everett could have meant that either one could have a motive to kill Sir Herbert, since he approved of this marriage. There were also Sir Herbert's business dealings. He was involved in negotiations with several companies, and that could have resulted in his murder. It's not an impossible sort of crime, but Corson and his team do face challenges. How did Sir Herbert get murdered in an open lobby, even though there was a chance that anyone might have seen it? What's the meaning of a cryptic message that Sir Herbert left behind? And most of all, what's the motive for the murder? What did the killer want? In fact, Bates is so concerned that the police aren't making progress that he hires private investigator Pennington Wise and his assistant Zizi. In the end, they and the police find out the truth about the murder. Who killed Sir Herbert, why, and exactly how. So let's talk about what's in the novel. What are the elements that we see woven through the story? Well, as I said, this is a very vintage crime novel. It was published in 1920, and it's very much of its time. There is a great deal of sexism and classism all through the novel. There are also all sorts of comments that modern readers would probably find offensive. Readers who dislike any isms in their novels will notice this. That said, though, some of the female characters are interesting and have strong personalities, and it's a novel of its time. The Campanile is also an important element. It's an old-fashioned, very posh apartment building, complete with a telephone operator, elevator porters, cleaners, and more. Well depicts the building effectively, and it serves as an effective background for the story, too. The mystery itself is solved by finding clues and making sense of them, even though none of the detectives has access to modern crime-fighting infrastructure like DNA testing. There are several possible killers and motives, and readers who like to match wits with the author will appreciate that this is a whodunit and a whydunit. In the Onyx lobby is a traditional mystery, complete with a threatened young couple, an unpleasant murder victim, and several suitable suspects. It takes place in a bygone era of apartment living and features detectives who are determined to find out the truth. This has been In the Spotlight. I'm Margot Kimber. Thanks for watching.